crisis between the United States and Great Britain that exploded into the War of 1812, otherwise known as the Second War of Independence, stemmed from the European conflicts of the French Revolution and later the Napoleonic Wars. The British restricted American trade since they feared it was harmful for their war with France. They did not want supplies to be sent to France, so they decided to set up a blockade around 1806 upon the entire East Coast. The British also wanted to set up a Indian state in the Midwest in order to maintain their influence in the region. This is why 10,000 Native Americans fought on the side of the British during the war. Another factor that led to war was the impressment of American sailors. British arrogance and hostility went as far as to include a deadly attack by the British frigate HMS Leopard upon the USS Chesapeake. As tensions rose, Thomas Jefferson retaliated by passing the Embargo Act of 1807, which restricted all trade with England and France. The British also wanted to control the Great Lakes the way they controlled trade upon the seas. Their plan was to take Michigan and New Orleans to gain control of the Mississippi River. Another big problem was the British insulting our national honor. After splitting apart from England, the world superpower, and becoming America, the British still thought very little of us. The United States Congress was being steered by an aggressive faction of young legislators in the House of Representatives known as the Warhawks. Henry Clay from Kentucky was Speaker of the House and also the leader of the Warhawks. He believed that war with Britain would not only restore our national honor, but also provide a great benefit for territory. One of the first land engagements of the conflict was the Battle of Tippecanoe. It was fought on November 7, 1811, near present-day Lafayette, Indiana. The battle was led by Governor William Henry Harrison of the Indiana Territory and Tecumseh, leader of the Native American Confederacy. Harrison led a convoy of 1,000 men to destroy Prophetstown, a Confederate headquarters near the Tippecanoe and Wabash rivers. In the end, Harrison succeeded, and despite the defeat, Prophetstown was rebuilt while hostility continued and the increasing violence. American public opinion was pointing the finger at Britain as the cause of the violence. The Warhawks suspected Britain of funding and supplying the Indians. As a result, relations between the United States and Britain began to deteriorate, and Congress declared war in 1812. The first major battle in the War of 1812 was the Battle of Queenston Heights, which was won by the British. The battle was a result of an American attempt to establish a foothold on the Canadian side of the Niagara River. The British were able to defeat the Americans because of their artillery fire and the reluctance and inexperience of the American militia, even though the British were outnumbered 2-1. Britain was victorious, but one of their best officers, Major General Isaac Brock, the hero of Upper Canada, died in battle. The next decisive engagement was the Battle of Thames, a United States victory against the British and Tecumseh's Confederacy. It occurred on October 5, 1813. British troops, led by Major General Henry Proctor, had occupied Detroit until the United States Navy took control of Lake Erie and deprived the British of their supplies. This led to the British retreat up the Thames River. Tecumseh was forced to do the same. American infantry and cavalry drove off the outnumbered British and depleted the Native Americans, all done under command of future President General William Henry Harrison. Tecumseh is also killed, and the British lose nearly all of their Native American forces, a major turning point of the war. Great Britain had few troops in America. Their main fighting force was in France fighting in the Napoleonic Wars. When Napoleon was finally defeated in 1814, they turned their eyes on America. The burning of Washington, D.C. took place on August 29, 1814. It involved the British and American forces. During this time, Rear Admiral George Cockburn set fire to many public buildings, including the White House. The attack was in part a retaliation to American actions in the raid on Port Dover and the Battle of York. It marked the only time in history that Washington, D.C. was occupied by a foreign force. The last major battle between the United States and Great Britain was the Battle of New Orleans. The battle was fought 2 weeks after the Treaty of Ghent was signed. Major General Andrew Jackson lost only 71 men while inflicting 2,036 British casualties. This made him a national hero and catapulted his political career, which would later help him become the President of the United States of America. The Treaty of Ghent seen no boundary changes, and things went back to normal after the war. The big losers, however, were the Native Americans. They suffered plenty of casualties and lost even more land. In this war, America proved that they would be here to stay and that they would someday be a national player on the world stage.